All right, I've got our stack. Let's talk. I don't think anybody will be surprised that I'm going to include. I think it's a truth universally acknowledged amongst us book lovers that summer is for reading. I think it's because when I was a kid, summer being off of school meant that I had so much more time to devote to the things that I enjoyed, and starting from the age of 11, that's been reading, and mainly reading fantasy. So now that summer is actually here, if you're like me and you are itching for an awesome fantasy read to dive into, I've got 10 that I'd love to share with you. All right, I've got our stack. Let's talk. I forgot how much trouble it is moving books around, let me tell you. It's been a long time since I redid my shelves, basically close to 2 years probably by now. So even just this one stack of books, I'm like, I've never done a video like this, so it's a grand experiment. We'll see how it turns out. I don't think anyone is going to be too surprised at the first book. I had to put it as number 1 because it is literally the book that rekindled my love of fantasy as an adult and introduced me to a whole new world of fantasy novels, and that is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I absolutely love this book. This is the original cover. I got my books before they did the whole cover revamp that they just recently did. So if you don't recognize it, that is why. But this book has been very well loved. And like I said, it opened my eyes to a whole new kind of fantasy that I didn't know was possible. So definitely check it out. It is probably one of my favorite series of all times. It's beautiful, it's deep, it's immersive, with characters that are flawed but determined not to ever give up on their dreams. And it has reason. Next up on the list is another one of my absolute favorites. I had to include this. It is Shadow and Bone. I don't know if you can actually see, the foiling is so beautiful, but it's kind of reflecting. But this is Shadow and Bone, the collector's edition by Leigh Bardugo. And I absolutely adore this whole series. It has an interesting magic system. It's full of intrigue and mystery and characters that I grew to love. So inside of the actual little box that it comes in, it is absolutely beautifully decked out with more gold foiling. I loved this edition. It is absolutely stunning. And all of the pages inside look like this. So if you get this from the library and fall in love with it like I did, I highly, highly, highly recommend getting this special collector's edition. It is such a good story, and honestly, one that I will probably go back to again and again. Next is the first book in another one of my favorite series. I think you're going to notice a theme here that I'm actually including a lot of favorites on this list. They're not all favorites, but I had to start with some of my favorites. So anyway, so this one is From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I only recently got into her books, and let me tell you, if you are a fantasy lover and have not read her books yet, you are really missing out. Highly, highly, highly recommend. Poppy is the main character. She is one of my absolute favorite fantasy characters ever. She is a curvy girl, so represent. And she always reminds me that I am stronger than I think. And also there's vampires. Next up is, you guessed it, another favorite. And it is Caraval by Stephanie Garber. You really have to experience Caraval for yourself. There's not really a whole lot that I can say without spoiling things, but it's a unique fantasy experience, and whimsy, magic, and mystery swirl together in this intoxicating, dazzling world full of colorful, lovable characters. I highly recommend this series if you haven't read it. I read it one summer and I have so many fond memories of it, so definitely check it out. I'm so bad at this. Okay, so for the 5th book on this list, we have Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. I bought this book at Barnes & Noble. It's a Barnes & Noble exclusive, because I liked the cover. I did read the synopsis and like all the stuff, and like it looked cool, and then the map on the inside was beautiful, but the cover was what grabbed my attention. And even though it felt a little bit slow to start, I will admit, like it was like, ooh, this is a little slow. Am I really gonna enjoy this? It was not long before I just completely fell in love with the characters, and I thoroughly enjoyed the way that it was written. And I really look forward to delving into the sequel. So again, Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. It is a delightful read. All right, we've got another favorite. This one was one that if you have watched my vlogs, you will have seen I picked up earlier this year. When I say that this book grabbed me by the throat and would not let go, that is not an exaggeration. I started reading it while our electricity was out and I couldn't sleep. And it ended up keeping me completely enthralled until 5 a.m. And so I introduce to you The Stars Are Dying by Chloe C. Peñaranda. I just, if that intro wasn't enough to make you curious about picking up this book, I don't know what else I can say. Just read the synopsis, and if it's at your local library, go grab it. But yeah, it's just that good. I'm reading the sequel now and enjoying it so much. I kind of hope this series never ends. But yeah, highly recommend grabbing this. Okay, so for the next book on this list, I wasn't sure what to expect from it when I bought it, as I hadn't really heard anyone talk about it, but I was drawn in quite quickly, and it became one of my most fond reads. It is Into the Heartless Wood by Joanna Ruth Meyer, and I bought it because the cover was absolutely beautiful. Like I said, I hadn't really heard people talking about it in like Instagram or Book Talk. Maybe I just missed it. I believe it is a standalone. I haven't heard anything about a sequel, so I think it is a standalone. So it's a nice, quick read, and I loved how whimsical it felt. So this next book, I had gotten an email from Owl Crate that they were having a Christmas sale. This was 3 years ago by now, and it's been a while since I read it, but I really enjoyed it, so I wanted to include it on this list. I bought it because the cover was gorgeous. Yes, I did read the synopsis, but the synopsis could have been absolutely ridiculous, and I still would have bought it because this cover is just... So here we have Violet Made of Thorns by Gina Chen, and my camera is not going to do this justice. It is just, it's perfection. I love this cover. And on the inside, we have this and this, and then like on the chapter pages it has like this pretty art. So this is like an Owl Crate exclusive, so I don't know what the regular copy looks like, you know, what you would find like at Barnes & Noble or whatever, but I gotta say, even if you can't get the gorgeous cover version, the story itself was so good. If you're craving just a quick weekend read, like on a trip or something, this is a really good option. The author has said it's a standalone, but I really hope someday she revisits the world, because the way that she left it off, you know, you have your neat and tidy bow, but she did also leave the possibility for future books open, I feel like. And if this was to become a series, I would be so happy. I could not have a list of fantasy reads without including something written by one of my favorite fantasy authors, Cassandra Clare. So for this list, I picked The Clockwork Angel. This is book 1 in the Infernal Devices, and I must say, this trilogy is my favorite out of everything that I've read by her. It is so good. If you're looking for more than a standalone but aren't really wanting to commit to something longer like A Court of Thorns and Roses, this is definitely a good option. The books aren't too long, but they really pack a lot in, and the characters. And last but not least, number 10, which I can't believe we're already here. I don't think anybody will be surprised that I'm going to include Fourth Wing. I wasn't sure if I was going to include it just because the viral reads, like, they're everywhere, and some of you, if you haven't read it yet, maybe you're tired of hearing about it, but I will say, if you are just craving a fantasy adventure with dragons definitely pick this series up. And that, my friends, is the end of the list. I know I went really quickly and I didn't really go into too many specifics about the books, but I wanted to kind of give you a quick video that you could watch just to give you some ideas, inspiration, and hopefully help you enjoy summer fantasy reading a little bit more. If you haven't heard of any of these books on this list, drop me a comment. I would love to know, and let me know which ones you're picking up this summer too, because I would just be so tickled to know that I helped you find your next favorite read. Since you watched this video, I'm assuming that you enjoy fantasy, so make sure that you go check out my other video about being a fantasy writer. I'm actually working on multiple fantasy novels and documenting the entire journey here on YouTube, so go check that out and subscribe so you don't miss future Cozy uploads. If you enjoyed this video, leave me a like. It helps me know what you guys are enjoying so that I know what to make more of in the future. And on that note, I will see you in the next video. Happy reading and stay cozy.